In this lesson, we're going to talk about different ways to include jQuery in your project. Let's start by going to jQuery.com, that's the official jQuery website, and then go to download jQuery. So one way to include jQuery is to just download the .js file, that's a JavaScript file, and include it in your HTML5 just like you would do with any JavaScript file. The other way to do it is to use what's called a content delivery network, CDN. That basically means that instead of downloading the JavaScript file and including it in your project, you link to an externally hosted JavaScript file. That could be on a Google's CDN or on the official jQuery CDN, on Microsoft's CDN. The advantage of that approach is that if the user previously visited a different page that was including that same jQuery library from that CDN, that file is very much likely to be loaded in the person's browser cage. So then when they visit your site, they don't have to download the file again. They already have jQuery in their web browser's cage. The disadvantage, on the other hand, is that you're relying on a third-party server for your own website to work. So what if that server is offline? Then your users, if they don't have it, the library caged, then they won't be able to get it and your page will not work properly. So it's really up to you which method to use. I usually prefer to host my own version of jQuery file, but when it comes to blogs or to sites with a lot of traffic, I prefer to use an external CDN because I also use an external CDN for some of the other libraries anyways. Alright, so if we look into downloading jQuery, there's two versions of jQuery, 1.x and 2.x. The only difference between them when it comes, the APIs of the two is the same, but the jQuery 2 doesn't work for some versions of Internet Explorer, which sadly are still around on the web, especially 8. So if you're looking to have a lot of visitors and some might have an older version of Internet Explorer, you might want to pick version 1. If you are using older JavaScript code, you also have to download another file that's called jQuery migrate. But since we're starting from scratch now, we don't need that. And everything that we learn in this course is based on the latest best practices and is 100% jQuery 2.x compatible. There are two versions of jQuery that you can download. One of them is the compressed, which should be used in production projects. So when you go live, you should definitely be using this one because it's smaller. It's all packed to each other. You can't really read the code. The uncompressed one, on the other hand, is indented. It has comments. So when you're developing, I recommend that you use this one. And then when you go live, you use the other one. Why using this one? Because you do need to look at jQuery code every now and then. And the more you do, the better you'll understand the library and the more you can do with it. So how we can include this in our project? Very simple, just download this file. I've done so already and include it on your page just like you do with any JavaScript file. Just make sure that you include the file before you call jQuery code. Don't worry about this part for now. But all this is going to do, it loads jQuery, the jQuery version that I downloaded, and it shows me an alert that says jQuery is up and running. So see how that's one way to do it. The other way would be to include the CDN, which you can grab from this part. So this is the official jQuery CDN, and see how if I include that CDN instead of my local file and I reload the page, it will work just as fine, provided that I have an internet connection. So those are the two methods to include jQuery. It's downloading the file using an external CDN, and the version of jQuery that you'll pick, it'll depend whether there'll be people using these browsers or not. If you're doing a mobile HTML5 app, there's not going to be people using this, so you can safely go with 2.x, which is going to be a little bit more lightweight and better. But in most cases, you'll be still using 1.x.